The name Ravenscroft carries with it an aura of haunting tragedy that can chill you to the bone. Step into the hallowed halls of Ravenscroft Manor where shadows dance and secrets lie dormant. Here the whispers of the past mingle with the present, weaving a tapestry of mystery that's hard to unravel. Imagine a grand estate nestled amidst sprawling grounds, shrouded in an eerie mist. Within its confines, the spirits of the past linger, eager to share their sorrowful tales. Picture this. You're standing in the grand hall of Ravenscroft Manor, the air thick with anticipation. Suddenly, the faint strains of a harp drift through the silent halls, sending shivers down your spine. And then she appears, the ethereal Lady Evelyn Blackwood, her presence both captivating and haunting. Her tale is one of forbidden love and unfulfilled dreams. But the manor isn't just haunted by lovelorn spirits. The village of Ravenscroft is steeped in eerie legends and ghostly whispers. As you explore the cobblestone streets, you'll encounter spectral townsfolk who share their chilling stories. It's a place where the veil between the living and the dead is paper thin, and the restless spirits refuse to find peace. As you venture further into this realm of the supernatural, you stumble upon Ravenscroft Institute, a twisted labyrinth where the criminally insane are held. Here, the darkness that lies within these walls mirrors the turmoil in Lady Evelyn's heart. Prepare to be confronted with the darkest corners of humanity, where sanity is a fragile thread and evil lurks around every bend. But the true horror of Ravenscroft isn't confined to the Institute's chilling confines. The secrets of the Ravenscroft family lineage will send chills down your spine. These blood relatives were anything but ordinary. They possessed supernatural abilities that defied the boundaries of the natural world. Their powers, both feared and revered, have shaped the destiny of Ravenscroft, leaving an indelible mark on the very essence of this enigmatic place. As you piece together the fragments of the past, you'll uncover a legacy that's more terrifying than any ghost story. Ravenscroft is a place where love and loss intertwine, where the dead refuse to rest, and where the supernatural is all too real. So brace yourself for an unforgettable journey into a realm where the living and the dead collide, and the darkness within us all comes to the surface. With that being said, let's start our countdown. The Haunting Legacy. Ravenscroft is a place where the threads of time are worn thin, allowing the spirits of the past to brush against the present. Lady Evelyn Blackwood's tragic tale is a haunting melody that echoes through the halls of Ravenscroft Manor. Born into a world of privilege, she was the very picture of grace and beauty. But behind her enchanting smile lay a heart heavy with unspoken desires. Her eyes, pools of endless sadness, held the memory of a love that was never meant to be. You see, Evelyn's heart yearned for a love that transcended societal norms, a love that fate had cruelly denied her. She found solace in the enchanting melodies of the harp, pouring her tormented soul into each note. But her music was a lament, a mournful song that spoke of a love lost and a spirit forever trapped. As you wander through the manor's echoing halls, you might just catch the faint strains of her harp, a ghostly serenade that lingers on the edge of your hearing. And if you're truly attuned to the whispers of the past, you might even glimpse her ethereal form, forever searching for a love that remains just out of reach. Village of Whispers. The village of Ravenscroft is a place where the veil between the living and the dead is at its thinnest, allowing the whispers of the past to mingle with the present. It's a place where the dead refuse to rest, forever bound to the earthly realm. As you stroll along the winding paths that snake through the village, you'll feel their presence enveloping you. Each cobblestone street, each weathered cottage seems to hold a secret, a story waiting to be unearthed. The villagers here aren't just ghosts, they're characters in a macabre play, reliving their final moments over and over again. You might find yourself face to face with a spectral townsperson, their tale of terror unfolding before your very eyes. Their stories, fragments of a shattered past, paint a haunting picture of a community trapped in a cycle of fear and despair. But the scariest part, you might hear their voices in the rustling leaves or feel their icy fingers brushing against your skin. In Ravenscroft, the past is never truly buried. It rises like a vengeful spirit, seeking to pull you into its dark embrace. Ravenscroft Institute. Hidden amidst the sprawling grounds of Ravenscroft Manor lies a place of darkness and despair, the Ravenscroft Institute. This sinister institution serves as a chilling reminder of the depths of human cruelty and the haunting legacy that continues to plague Ravenscroft. The Institute is a twisted labyrinth where the criminally insane are held, their minds as fractured as the walls that confine them. Stepping inside is like entering a nightmare, where shadows writhe and the echoes of tormented souls reverberate through the corridors. The patients here aren't just mentally unwell, they're embodiments of pure evil, their actions forever staining the halls of Ravenscroft with unspeakable horrors. As you navigate the labyrinthine halls, you'll encounter chilling sights and sounds that will test your sanity. The mere glimpse of a deranged mind might just send shivers down your spine. But the true terror lies in the secrets hidden within the Institute's archives, records of heinous crimes and chilling diagnoses that reveal the darkness lurking beneath the surface of humanity. The Ravenscroft bloodline. The Ravenscroft family tree is a macabre tapestry woven with threads of darkness and deceit. Delving into their ancestry reveals a lineage tainted by unspeakable deeds and a legacy that's more horrifying than any ghost story. Each generation of Ravenscroft seems to carry the burden of their ancestors' sins, their lives forever entwined with the shadows that lurk at the edge of their vision. But the most unsettling aspect of this bloodline is the secret they've kept hidden for centuries, a chilling truth that sets them apart from ordinary mortals. For the Ravenscrofts weren't just blessed or cursed with extraordinary abilities. Their powers were a manifestation of the darkness that resided within their souls. Imagine uncovering ancient grimoires filled with forbidden knowledge, each page detailing the gruesome origins of their supernatural abilities. The revelations are nothing short of terrifying, exposing the lengths to which the Ravenscrofts had gone to harness their powers. But the scariest part, it's a legacy that continues to this day, passed down through generations, binding them to a fate worse than death. Charlotte's journey. In the heart of Ravenscroft, there exists a haven of learning, a sanctuary where the pursuit of knowledge is paramount. Yet what seems like an oasis of enlightenment conceals a sinister secret beneath its hallowed halls. Imagine stepping into a grand library, its shelves laden with ancient texts and leather-bound journals. As you delve deeper into its archives, you stumble upon a hidden chamber, a portal to a past that's both fascinating and terrifying. There, amidst the musty tomes, you discover Charlotte's personal effects, a tangible link to a time when Ravenscroft's darkness was only beginning to stir. Her belongings become your guide, leading you through a labyrinth of clues that unravel the sinister underbelly of Ravenscroft. With each passing moment, you're drawn deeper into a web of intrigue and horror, uncovering secrets that were best left buried. But the journey doesn't end there. As you follow in Charlotte's footsteps, you'll witness firsthand the horrors that unfolded in Ravenscroft's early days, realizing that the darkness that once gripped the town still lingers, waiting to ensnare the unwary. Unveiling the past. Ravenscroft Manor stands as a sentinel of the past, its ancient walls whispering tales of a bygone era. As you explore its rambling chambers, you'll uncover relics of a time when the lines between reality and nightmare were blurred. Each room holds a new horror, from the spectral music room where Evelyn's ghost serenades her lost love to the Institute, where the echoes of tormented souls still linger. It's a journey through the annals of Ravenscroft's tormented history, a testament to the suffering endured by those who dared to enter its gates. But the manor isn't just a repository of the past. It's a living, breathing entity that reacts to your every move. The very fabric of the house seems to shift and change, revealing hidden passages and secret chambers that challenge your perception of reality. What seems like a fleeting glimpse might just be a full-bodied apparition, a resident spirit eager to share their chilling tale. In Ravenscroft Manor, the past isn't just preserved, it's palpable, a haunting reminder of the darkness that continues to grip Ravenscroft's soul. Thank you for watching. Best horror movies. As the story goes, after she had done her dirty work, Elizabeth washed her hands of the whole affair, figuratively speaking, of course, because after killing both Mr. Craven and his wife, she set about creating a false alibi for herself. She claimed that on the night of the murders, she was nowhere near the house. She was instead at a tavern having a grand old time with some fellow servants from other households. She even had witnesses who corroborated her story. Her plan was to make it seem as though the killer had somehow gotten into the house via the servants' entrance and then made their way to Mr. Craven's study where they bludgeoned him to death. After that, they headed upstairs, entered Mrs. Craven's bedroom, and strangled her in her sleep. Now, it seems pretty obvious that the murderer wasn't someone from the household, because if they were, they would have known that the Cravens kept a heavy iron chest in front of the door to keep out any unwanted visitors. However, the servants claimed that this was not unusual. They all knew that the Cravens liked to keep their doors locked at night and that the iron chest was just another one of their quirks. It was also pretty hard to get a clear look at the murderer's face because there were no lights on in the servants' entrance hall, and the person had covered their face with a piece of cloth. At first, suspicion fell upon Thomas, a footman from a neighboring house whose wife was currently in service at the Cravens as a lady's maid. Thomas had apparently been seen arguing with Mr. Craven shortly before the murders, and when the police searched his home, they found blood-stained clothing and a meat cleaver that seemed to be the murder weapon. But Thomas swore he was innocent and insisted he had merely borrowed the Craven's iron chest to store his own wife's clothing in because his house was undergoing renovations. As for the blood on his clothes, he claimed that he had cut himself shaving that morning. Elizabeth was so convincing in her portrayal of a grieving young woman shocked by the turn of events that the investigators completely bought her story. She was released without charge, which enraged the magistrate presiding over the case because he believed that justice had been perverted. He said to her, "You are the most dangerous kind of criminal, a woman who can assume so complete a disguise as to impose on us all." When the news spread through London that Elizabeth was a free woman, the public was outraged. The people demanded that she be brought to justice, and when the judge overseeing her case heard these cries, he relented and ordered her rearrested. This time she was charged with the lesser crime of being an accessory to murder and sent to Bridewell, a prison for women in London. At the time, this was considered a very light sentence considering what she had done. Her punishment was merely a few months behind bars, followed by exile from England. However, this did not stop Elizabeth from filing a lawsuit against the two constables who had arrested her, accusing them of assault and false imprisonment. To her surprise, the jury sided with her and awarded her £100 in damages. With this money, she fled to France. She tried to start a new life there, but she could never shake off her dark past and eventually returned to England. There she began working as a prostitute and slowly slid into madness. By 1843, she was back in prison, this time for stealing clothes. When the prison chaplain asked her why she had committed the crime, she replied, "I am poor and I want them." In the end, Elizabeth never escaped the consequences of her actions. She died a nobody in Newgate Prison on November 1843. Her body was examined post-mortem and was found to contain traces of lead, arsenic, and strychnine. Perhaps she had poisoned herself as a form of escape, or maybe her fellow prisoners had had enough of her and decided to deal with her once and for all. We may never know the truth, but there are so many other mysteries surrounding this gruesome case. For instance, why did Elizabeth kill the Cravens? While it's easy to assume that she did it simply for money, the size of her inheritance suggests otherwise. Elizabeth stood to gain only £200 from the couple's estate, the modern-day equivalent of approximately $7,500. That hardly seems worth taking two lives. Another head-scratcher is the motive for the murders. Elizabeth had worked for the Cravens for 5 years, and they had never really mistreated her. In fact, they were described as kind and generous employers who paid their servants well. And what was the trigger for their demise? Was it something Elizabeth heard them say, or perhaps she had witnessed some heinous crime of which she had to become an accomplice? Or maybe Elizabeth wanted to inherit the family fortune and saw an opportunity when she discovered that Mrs. Craven had been suffering from insomnia and Mr. Craven had developed a bad habit of keeping late hours at the office. Either way, we may never find out. And while Elizabeth's story might have ended here, there is still so much more to uncover. So let's take a look at what happened to the Craven's son, Harry. Harry Craven was only 16 years old when his parents were murdered, and he was away at school during the time of the crime. Imagine coming home from school to find your parents dead and your house overrun with police and reporters. To make matters worse, the prime suspect in the case was a member of your own family, albeit a lowly servant. Poor Harry likely had to endure whispers and pointed fingers from his peers. The tragedy had such an impact on him that he took his own life just a few weeks later. We don't know exactly how the Cravens met their untimely demise, but we do know that both of them were found with a ligature mark around their necks, suggesting that they were strangled. However, there were no signs of a struggle, which makes us wonder whether or not they were attacked in their sleep. If so, then who killed them? One theory is that a member of the household did it, but not Elizabeth. Remember, she had an airtight alibi, and the evidence against her was circumstantial at best. Instead, it could have been Thomas, the footman from the neighboring house, who had a history of violence against women. Maybe Elizabeth helped him cover up the crime in exchange for a share of the inheritance, although this isn't supported by the facts. As we already mentioned, she only stood to gain a small amount of money from the will. Another theory is that the killer was someone from the neighborhood who snuck into the Cravens' house through the servants' entrance, avoiding the iron chest in the hallway. But if this is true, why? What could have been the motive? The Cravens were a wealthy family who lived in a large house with plenty of servants. They weren't known to keep dangerous company or dabble in illegal activities, so why would anyone want to harm them? We may never know the answer to this question, but we can speculate that jealousy or greed may have played a role. What about the forensic evidence that seemingly tied Thomas to the scene of the crime? What if the blood on his clothing wasn't his at all, but a clever ruse designed to frame him for the murders? And what if the meat cleaver was planted there by the real killer? The possibilities are endless. So what do you think really went down at Ravenscroft Manor? Who killed the Cravens and why? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos like these. And now for a little special treat. Let's take a look at the final pages from the file regarding the Ravenscroft Manor case. From the desk of Detective Inspector Frederick Robinson comes this rather cryptic message. A word of warning to those who seek to do evil that they shall not prosper. Then signed simply, The Noose Tightener. Next is an unsigned page with some interesting observations written in pencil. Mr. Craven was known to have insured his life for the benefit of his son, the amount being £10,000. His wife's life was insured for $2,000. There were no signs of forced entry into the house. The servant's entrance door was locked on the inside. The key to this door was always in the possession of the head house parlor maid. It is presumed that the killer unlocked the door with said key and then locked it again from the inside after the deed was done. This presumption is based on the fact that the key was not found in the parlor maid's room after the murder. Additionally, there were no signs of a struggle in the servants' hall or the kitchen. This would indicate that the murderer came into the house alone. However, it is possible that the servants were in on it and so chose to remain quiet. It should be noted that all of the servants were questioned thoroughly but denied any knowledge of the crime. Furthermore, Mr. Craven was known to keep large sums of cash in his strong box, but it appears that the murderer did not touch the money. Lastly, it is interesting to note that Mrs. Craven had recently received a letter from an unknown sender containing threats that were not carried out. The nature of the threats is too indecent to discuss here, but they centered around the possibility of the writer doing harm to Mrs. Craven and her daughter Eliza. So, what do you think about these findings? Do they provide any new insights into the case? We'd love to hear your thoughts, so please feel free to share them in the comments section below. Thanks for watching, and be sure to stay tuned for more historical crime content. Until next time, stay curious and keep learning.